So yeah, so I'm starting this live lunch hour reading sessions, and simply because I am a reader, right? But over the past, I'll say over the past maybe 6 months or so, 6 months, I've not been able to read consistently, and this is simply because of I don't even know where to start, like motherhood, um, work, school. So I don't get enough time. I don't get enough time to read at home, or even the time that I do get is just to read basically just few pages. So I decided that I am going to experiment reading during my lunch hour, right, at work, so that I can catch up, with my reading. And there's just a lot of books which I am yet to read, and I need to make time. So I am officially starting this reading challenge, to read during my lunch hour. Today I am officially starting this challenge. In fact, I might not call it a challenge because it's rather an experiment, and then I'll see how it goes. You know, should it work out, then I'll continue doing this, and yeah. And this is what I'm learning about experiments. Experiments are actually a technique to transform your life if you really want holistic transformation in your life. I'm saying this simply because earlier this year, we as a family, right, we experimented gardening, and gardening actually helped us. It was just something that we're, experimenting for fun, and we tried it out um, since February, and now we are in June, and sorry, we are now in May, and we've gotten good results. So I'm now experimenting reading during my lunch hour. For those that are just joining, I want to inculcate a culture of reading consistently, and especially this is for working moms, for people basically who just don't get enough time to do stuff that they want to do, and reading is one of them. So I'll be doing this over the next 30 days and see the results that I'll be getting in time. I'm not sure if I'll keep up the momentum, but also cannot just say that it's not doable. So I am now starting with my reading session. I'm reading Big Trust. Big Trust is written by Dr. Shade Zarai. Dr. Shade is really someone who studied on about human behavior, and she is using her platform and to teach us in terms of how we can trust ourselves, on how to be confident, on how we can utilize our various inherent strengths for when we find ourselves in challenges. So I'm just reading her book, and I enjoyed most of her earlier chapters, and I just want to continue today. So it's gonna be a silent reading, if I may say. So basically, just me reading alone, and it's exactly 15 minutes past 1, and I am going to lock in until quarter to 2 before I go to my desk. Okay. Okay, so I just need to read this out loud, you know. So Dr. Shada speaks about the various strengths that we ought to have, right? And one of it, or rather not she calls them attributes. One of them is autonomy, and she's saying that the defining challenge of autonomy, which is the third attribute in our doubt profile, is claiming the sense of ownership over your own choices. At our core, we all crave the ability to shape our own lives. We want to feel like we have a say in what happens next. When autonomy is a vulnerability, you live in a state of resignation. When autonomy, or she's saying basically, when you have low autonomy, when you have when autonomy is a vulnerability, you live in a state of resignation. While it shares similarities with the lack of agency, which is about doubting your capacity. The struggle for autonomy is about doubting whether your efforts matter. You feel like life is happening to you. Rather than something, at least 40%, they didn't believe that at least 40%, they didn't believe their actions made a difference. Another 20% were on the fence, neither agreeing nor disagreeing they had control. That's 3 in 5 people, either doubting or uncertain about their ability to influence their own outcomes. And then she continues to say, if you struggle with autonomy, you start to dictate your success more than your own actions. You start to think that external forces, they dictate your success more than your own actions. You hesitate not because you lack the desire or drive, but because deep down you don't believe that. But because deep down you don't believe that actions you take will make a difference. So, why speak up if it won't change anything? Why apply for that role if the odds are already stacked against you? Even levels of acceptance or agency, it won't matter if you don't believe you have the right or power to act in the first place. So she is telling us to always foster high autonomy in ourselves. So when you don't trust yourself or your ability to shape your circumstances, it's easier to let go of the fight. This is not Dr. Shade telling us, right? You had a sharp mind and a solid track record, but like many people under pressure, he became stuck, seeing the world through one narrow lens. Everything was outside his control. The traffic derailed his entire morning. The weather was unbearable. The new hires didn't get it. And his um, yeah, his executive team kept missing the mark. Even his investors weren't on the ball anymore. And yet, here he was running a successful company, surrounded by a team that had helped him build something meaningful. But none of that registered. It didn't register because where do you put your control? Where do you place your control? It's, your locus of control is shaped over time by your early experiences, the messages you observed from the people around you, and the culture you grew up in. So when you believe that what happens to you is a result of your choices, You have an internal locus of control. You believe your actions shape your future, and you focus on what you can influence, like your effort, your preparation, and response to challenges. This belief reflects the foundation of a healthy sense of autonomy. This is when you believe that what happens to you is a result of your choices. Okay, now here's another belief. When you believe your life is mostly shaped by luck, circumstances, or other people's decisions, that's an external locus of control. You focus on what you cannot influence. You believe life happens to you, and when things go wrong, you tend to feel powerless. So then where is my focus, my locus of control? These are the attributes or the things that fall within the external locus. The external locus focuses on what others think, what others say, the past, the outcome, what others do in the future, what others think, what others say, what is in the past, the outcome, and what others do. This is your external locus of control. Whereas your internal locus focuses on your thoughts. Your internal locus control focuses on my thoughts, my words, my responses, and my actions. That's it. So, where am I willing to put my attention? My attention for me really deserves to be directed to the internal locus of control and not the external, because I don't want to think about what others have to say about me, because to be honest, I don't really care. I don't want to dwell in the past because it did happen already. I don't want to fixate on the outcome because I am only in control of what is happening now. I don't want to fixate on what others are doing because that is not in my lane. I don't want to fixate on the future. I want to be here. I sound like I'm reading, but it's actually just my own words. It's me just interpreting this what I'm reading. Oh, it's already 1:46. Okay, let's finish this chapter. Think back to your school days. If you aced a test and thought that's because I studied, or failed and thought I didn't prepare, you were learning that effort leads to results. But if you worked hard and still got overlooked by biased teachers, or if you were constantly undermined by bullies or unsupportive adults, maybe you started thinking, why bother? Nothing I do changes anything. That's one way a sense of powerlessness can take root. Shifting into a state of powerlessness isn't always obvious. It can creep into your psyche undetected by us. And sometimes it takes another person to point it out. can control. So this was very deep. He only focused on what he could control. And over time, the 2 reps became 4, then 10. Bradley said, with this new mindset that Craig instilled in him, to focus on what he can control, to focus on what you're getting, not what anyone else is getting, to treat every rep like it's a Super Bowl. Eventually, he became a starter. Your locus of control should shift inward. Stop giving energy to what you can't change and take full ownership of what you can or you could. I should say, look at this. In nearly every situation, there's something you can shape. Perhaps most importantly, how you feel about yourself. Is your self-doubt defeating you? Are you stuck in a story that your choices and actions don't matter? You don't need a big plan or a major breakthrough to start changing your sense of control. In fact, it often starts with something small. The language you use to describe your situation, the words you speak out loud or in your head, shape how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. Low autonomy thinking often sounds like I have to or I can't. These phrases quietly reinforce the idea that you have no choice. But life is, you have no choice and life is just happening to you. Yo, let me read this again. Low autonomy thinking often sounds like I have to or I can't. These phrases quietly reinforce the idea that you have no choice, that life is just happening to you. Replace those phrases with I choose to, I want to, I am, I'm committing to. To get up early because I choose to. I have to finish this paper by 5 because I commit to. For instance, if you are grieving and not ready to get out of bed, I can't get out of bed because I'm choosing to rest. This habit of unintentional language helps you take ownership of your actions. Look at this. Listen to this actually. When you know you always have a choice, you feel powerful. You feel more in control of your life. And when you have that, it becomes a powerful powerful buffer against key part of building big trust. It's how you take back your power. Whew. I'm just grateful for this author. I am grateful for this author simply because she wants us to tap in the freedom that we deserve, to tap in the greatness that is on the other side, and for us to live our best lives. Because most of us dwell in the external locus of control. We are fixating on what is happening in the future. We are fixating on what happened in the past. We are focusing on what other people have to say about us. And we are becoming observers of our lives and not active participants in our lives. So she is advising us, and this is just my key takeaway as I am rounding off this last session. Dr. Shade is advising us to focus on our internal locus of control. And in the realm of internal locus of control, there are four things. Or could be wrong. There's one, your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Yeah, let me just make sure that I reference correctly. What are your thoughts? Okay, I'm going to say it as me talking to myself. What are my thoughts? What are my words? What am I thinking, basically? I saying, what are my responses and what are my actions? This is what I need to focus on. I shouldn't focus on the external locus of control. The more I focus on the internal locus of control, the higher autonomy I gain, and the more power I get to live in this beautiful world. And the more trust I build in myself. So these are the three things that I'll be always on the lookout for, and try to catch myself, because to be honest, I am also just learning. I am also struggling with so many things. I want to become a better version of myself. Hence, I this lunch hour reading sessions. This is something that I want to take away with and to practice. She told us that we need for us to develop our higher autonomy, we need to refrain from the habit of complaining. Because when you complain, it's like you are reliving that scenario. Resentment habit, it should go. Because when we complain, when we resent, this behavior compromises our self-doubt. And then lastly, she talks about we need to stop dwelling habit. How many times we are just dwelling on stuff? We're dwelling on stuff which happened in the past. We're dwelling on stuff which are yet to happen. And we should have a high sense of autonomy, because when your sense of autonomy is low, life starts feeling like one long conspiracy against you. And she is saying that this is just something I already said, but I just need to say it again so that my mind gets to code it. She is saying that we all have a locus of control. All of us as human beings, we have a locus of control. We just need to choose where we should place our external, where we should put or place our locus of control. Do we want to put it at the external or internal? So what is your belief? I want to believe that I have an internal locus of control where I am focusing on my thoughts, my words, and my responses, as well as my actions. This is a belief that I want to have. However, the reality is that it's not every time that my attention is on these four things. Sometimes I am lingering in the external locus of control, to be honest. But now I'm learning that that is not where I'm supposed to be. It's taking away my autonomy. Let me end here. I think I might have another live in the afternoon, just to continue reading this part of the book. The remaining part of the book. But anyway, it's been great. It's been a good 1 hour of reading, and not actually an hour. It's 40 minutes, but I've been doing this in my lunch hour. I'll come back again tomorrow, if not later. Leaders are readers. Leaders are readers. Yeah. Okay, let me just sign out. I need to go work. My employer pays me so that I can have this comfortability to take my lunch hour and just read in a great environment. So now I'm going to work and do what is expected of me and contribute to this beautiful world. I don't even know how to end this life.